Welcome, friends, to Wisdom and Wealth. Are you over 40 and looking for deeper meaning in life? Today, we are embarking on a thought-provoking journey, exploring the Buddha's answer to a fundamental question: why am I human? This isn't just a philosophical exercise, it is a journey towards understanding ourselves and the world around us. Consider this: how often do you pause amidst the daily grind to contemplate the very essence of your existence? This isn't a question that pops up during a board meeting, or while doing chores. It often arises during quiet moments, maybe while sitting alone with your thoughts. Have you ever looked around and truly wondered, why am I me? It's not merely asking, why am I alive, but something far more profound: why this particular body, this specific mind, this singular moment in time? Why am I a human being, and not a tree, a cloud, or some ethereal spirit floating through the vast expanse of space? Science offers a partial explanation. It tells us that our existence is a product of evolution, encoded in our DNA, governed by the principles of biology and chemistry. Our bodies, it explains, have been sculpted by millions of years of gradual change. Our brains have evolved to ensure our survival. If you like deep dives into life's big questions, hit that like button and consider subscribing to the Buddhist Doctrine channel for more. Yet, even after grasping these scientific explanations, a lingering question remains. Why this life? Why this mind? Why here? It's a question that science, with its focus on the material world, cannot fully address, because it delves into the very nature of being itself. It's not so much about how we came to be here, but the why are we this? And this is where the Buddha's teachings offer a unique and enlightening perspective, touching on something far deeper within us. The Buddha did not present a creation myth involving a divine being fashioning humanity. He didn't propose a soul being sent to earth, a celestial exile. Instead, he simply stated, "It is intention, I tell you, that is karma." Intending, one does karma by way of body, speech, and mind. This profound statement suggests that our very being, our experiences, originate within our own minds. Each choice we make, every intention we hold, every thought we entertain leaves a trace, an imprint on our consciousness. Being human, therefore, is not a gift bestowed upon us by a divine entity. Nor is it a punishment levied for some past transgression. Rather, it's the natural consequence of our mental actions, actions that span lifetimes. We are not here by chance, a random occurrence in the cosmic tapestry. We are here because of a chain of causes and conditions, a web of interconnected actions and consequences. This understanding isn't about assigning blame, nor is it about fostering pride. It is about attaining clarity, a clear-eyed vision of the forces that shape our reality. The ancient Chinese sage, Lao Tzu, once eloquently stated, "The nameless is the beginning of heaven and earth." What he meant by this enigmatic phrase is that the very root of existence isn't a person, a creator, but something beyond words, something that transcends definition. It is a movement, a flow, a dynamic process. This idea resonates with what the Buddha called dependent origination, the principle that all things arise in dependence upon other things. Things do not simply emerge from nothingness. They arise from a complex interplay of conditions. All things coalesce through specific conditions, not through divine commands. There is no need for a deity to dictate our being. There is only cause and effect, mind and action, condition and result. If this perspective resonates with you, why not give this video a like? And don't forget to subscribe to the Buddhist Doctrine channel. When our minds are clear, filled with kindness and awareness, we create a life that reflects those same qualities. Conversely, when our minds are consumed by greed, anger, and confusion, the resulting life takes on a different hue. So, when you ask the question, "Why am I me?" you are not engaging in a frivolous exercise. You are, in fact, touching upon the very edge of wisdom. Sadly, most people never even ask this question. Or, if they do, they remain at the surface, content with superficial answers. But the Buddha taught us that if we delve deeply into this question, approaching it not with fear or hope, but with calm and unwavering attention, we will begin to comprehend the true nature of life, not just our own individual existence. Being human, therefore, is not a random event, a cosmic lottery. It is the culmination of mental patterns, a unique opportunity shaped by our past intentions, an opportunity to see clearly, to awaken to the truth. We were not made. We came to be, through the power of our own minds, minds that have traversed through time and space. Asking this question, then, transcends mere philosophical inquiry. It becomes a doorway, not necessarily to definitive answers, but to profound insight. When we pose this question without rushing to judgment, without seeking external validation, we begin to hear a quiet voice within, a different kind of knowing that arises from the depths of our being. This is the very beginning of the path, the starting point of wisdom. When we turn our attention to the human body, science offers a wealth of information. It informs us that Homo sapiens first appeared approximately 300,000 years ago in Africa. Through meticulous study of fossils, bones, and genetics, we can trace the evolutionary trajectory of the human body. However, while science provides a detailed account of bones and brains, it remains largely silent on the nature of the mind itself, that elusive sense of being. This aspect, the very part of us that recognizes its own existence, is not adequately explained by DNA alone. The Buddha offered a different narrative, one that doesn't begin with land or skin, but with the very essence of awareness. He described the emergence of humanity in terms of the movements and shifts within the mind. In the Agana Sutta, the Buddha shared a teaching that may appear like a story, but it was never intended for mere entertainment. It served as a mirror, reflecting the origins of craving and its subsequent consequences. In this teaching, the Buddha described a time long ago when beings existed without physical forms. They were mind-made and radiant, emanating from a realm known as Abhisara, a place where beings existed in tranquility, sustained by pure joy. In that idyllic time, there was no gender, no anger, no comparison, no need for ownership. The source of their radiance was the absence of greed and hatred. Their light originated not from fire or the sun, but from the purity of their minds. If you are enjoying these teachings, be sure to subscribe to the Buddhist Doctrine channel. However, this state of bliss was not to last forever. A change occurred. Some of these beings encountered a sweet taste on the surface of the earth. They touched it, tasted it, and slowly, craving began to take root within them. This craving gradually made their bodies denser, heavier. Physical features began to form, and gender distinctions emerged. Comparison inevitably followed, as some appeared more attractive than others. Some beings consumed more of the earth's sweetness than others. Jealousy arose, and with it came pride, shame, theft, and punishment. Society, with all its complexities, began to form. This narrative was not intended as a historical account of Earth's past, nor as a description of a lost paradise. It was a reflection of how the human condition arises, again and again, not just once in the distant past, but across countless world cycles. When the mind is clear, it resides in lightness, free from the burdens of desire and attachment. However, when it begins to crave, to grasp, to divide, the world around it becomes heavier, filled with separation and conflict. Rules become necessary to maintain order. Identity becomes paramount. And, inevitably, suffering begins to emerge. The Buddha didn't share this story to entertain or amuse. He taught it to reveal the underlying pattern, the cyclical nature of the mind and its influence on our experience. He emphasized that this is not a myth to be blindly accepted or rejected. It is a map of the mind, a guide to understanding the forces that shape our reality. First comes purity, a mind unburdened by clinging. Then comes craving, the insatiable desire for more. Some individuals might ask, did this really happen? Who was the first human being? These questions may miss the point of the teaching. In Buddhism, there is no fixed starting point, no absolute beginning. The cycle of mind and form has no discernible origin. The Buddha was not describing a single, historical first human. He was describing the emergence of humanity as a mental process, something that recurs in every world cycle, and even within each of us, moment by moment. The more relevant question is this process still unfolding now? When you desire something and are unable to obtain it, how does your body feel? When you compare yourself to others, what does your mind do? When you cling to things, your name, your role, your beliefs, what kind of world do you create? The Buddha concluded that discourse by stating, Dhamma is the best thing for people, in this life and the next. He was not referring to religion in the conventional sense. He meant the natural truth, the path of clarity, kindness, and wisdom. Human beings, in the Buddha's perspective, are not simply bodies that spontaneously appeared on earth. We are the result of a long and intricate flow of mental formations. Our current state is shaped by the ways our minds have moved, and by what they have clung to. Therefore, to truly understand the origins of humanity, we don't need to embark on a journey through space. We only need to turn inward, to explore the depths of our own minds. The past isn't something behind us, it lives within us, shaping the way we think, act, and feel in the present moment. The emergence of humanity isn't merely an ancient event. It's something that unfolds within each of us, moment by moment, whenever we transition from clarity to craving. And that is why this teaching is so relevant and important. Because once we recognize this pattern, we are empowered to choose a different path. We don't need to revert to the beginning, to some mythical past. We need to return to awareness, to the present moment, and that return happens in silence, attention, and honesty. It doesn't require belief. It requires observation. The emergence of humanity, then, is not just a tale from long ago. It's a mirror reflecting how a pure mind gradually transforms into a confused one, and how that confusion manifests as the world we inhabit. Most people assume that being human is merely a result of biology or random chance, a matter of luck. However, in the teachings of the Buddha, being born as a human is neither random nor guaranteed. It arises from specific causes, not physical causes like genes or climate, but mental causes. The state of mind, the quality of actions, the force of intentions. The Buddha said, beings are the owners of their actions, the heirs of their actions. It is karma that makes beings different, coarse or refined. That means your birth wasn't assigned by a god or spun by fortune. It was shaped by habits of mind. What you think. What you feel. What you choose. These are not just passing moods. They're like seeds. They don't vanish when the body dies. They continue. They shape what comes next. To be born as a human, 3 conditions must come together. First, there must be strong wholesome karma, actions rooted in generosity, honesty, and kindness. Not just big actions, but even small ones done with sincerity. A kind word. A moment of restraint. A quiet choice not to harm. Second, the mind must be stable at the moment of death. Not scattered, not panicked, not clinging to pain or hate. A clear mind, even for a few breaths, can change the direction of what follows. Third, a type of consciousness must arise that fits this human world. Asterisk if this video has brought clarity to your life, please subscribe to the Buddhist Doctrine channel. In Buddhism, it's called Patisandhi-siddha, the linking mind. This isn't a soul. It's not a fixed self. It's the continuation of mental energy, shaped by past habits, ready to take a new form. That's why birth in different realms is not random. It reflects what the mind has become. Not what it once thought, but what it repeatedly fed. A mind filled with greed and stinginess moves toward the realm of hungry ghosts, beings always craving, never satisfied. A mind ruled by ignorance and instinct moves toward the animal realm, driven by survival but lacking awareness. A mind filled with joy and generosity may rise to a heavenly state, a place of ease and light. But even those bright states are not final. They fade. Pleasure without wisdom eventually leads back to confusion. So, where does the human realm stand in all this? It's not the highest and not the lowest. It holds both pain and clarity. It allows for both mistakes and awakening. A human mind can question, pause, and train itself. It can feel pain without collapsing. It can feel joy without losing awareness. That middle ground is what makes spiritual growth possible. Some may wonder, why me? Why now? The answer isn't always clear in memory, but it's clear in principle. If you are human now, it means somewhere in the past, maybe long ago, you trained your mind in some form of care. Maybe not perfectly, but enough to bring you here. You might have respected truth. You might have shared when you had little. You might have let go when you could have clung. That small act, done in a quiet life, shaped this moment. That's what karma means. Not punishment. Not reward. But continuation. This also means that your future form is not fixed. Each thought, each action, is part of what you become. You're not locked into being human forever. That can sound strange, or even frightening, but it's also freeing because it means you're not trapped. The path continues. You are not just a product of the past. You are also the condition of what comes next. So, if you ask, why wasn't I born as a dog, or a ghost, or a deva shining in some distant world? The answer is simple, because your mind, at some point, grew roots in both clarity and care. It was heavy enough to feel but light enough to learn. That balance is what gave rise to this life, a life where suffering is real, but wisdom is possible. A life where pain is present, but so is the chance to wake up. If you pick up a pinch of dust on your fingertip and compare it to the ground beneath your feet, it's clear which one is more. The Buddha once used this image when he spoke to the monks. Holding a small bit of dust on his finger, he asked, which is more, this dust, or the vast earth? The monks answered easily, the earth, of course. Then the Buddha said, in the same way, very few beings are reborn as humans. Far more are reborn in hell, as animals, or as hungry ghosts. This isn't just a metaphor. It's a wake-up call. The human state is not something we should take for granted. If you're listening to this now, with a human mind, a human body, and the freedom to reflect, that means you've come through a narrow gate. Not everyone makes it here. Why is it so rare? Because most states of rebirth are shaped by strong emotions that cloud the mind. In hell realms, there is too much pain. Pain so intense that there's no space for awareness. In the animal realm, life is about surviving, not understanding. In the ghost realm, craving fills every corner, but nothing satisfies. In heavenly realms, life can seem so easy that beings forget to reflect. There is pleasure, but no pressure to wake up. If you found value in this teaching, please give this video a like and consider subscribing to Buddhist doctrine. But the human realm is different. It stands right in the middle. It includes both joy and sorrow, gain and loss. That balance gives birth to something special, the urge to understand. A person can suffer deeply and still ask, why? A person can feel love and still know that it doesn't last forever. That space between comfort and discomfort is where wisdom can grow. It doesn't mean humans are the best. It means this form gives the best chance to wake up. This chance, though, is fragile. It doesn't last long. Bodies get old. Minds get distracted. If we're not paying attention, the preciousness of this life is buried under routine. That's why the Buddha said, train yourselves, we will live mindfully. Not to be perfect, not to be better than others, but to remember what we carry. Not everyone has the chance to sit, to listen, to ask deep questions. If we forget that, we fall back into the same patterns that brought us pain in the first place. In a way, being human is like standing at a crossroads. One path leads upward, toward wisdom, compassion, and freedom. The other path leads downward, back into confusion and mindless habits. Which path we walk depends not on our beliefs, but on how we live each day. Do we act with care? Do we speak with honesty? Do we look at our own mind with clarity? If we do, even a little, we move in the right direction. There's a line from the philosopher Nietzsche: "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Buddhism offers that kind of why. Not to seek comfort, not to gain power, but to wake up, to see through suffering, to understand its roots, and to end it. That purpose is deeper than pleasure. It gives meaning to pain. It gives direction to life. So, if you are human now, recognize what that means. You've received something that many beings long for but rarely reach. You have a mind that can learn, a voice that can speak truth, a heart that can feel both sorrow and compassion. These are not small things. They are conditions for awakening. Dust on a fingertip may seem tiny, but if it's your chance, it means everything. Some people have a human body but feel far away from themselves. They move through life, walking, working, eating, but inside, they feel like something is missing. They live in reaction, pulled by habits, drifting through the days without knowing what they are truly seeking. When the Buddha spoke about human life, he didn't only mean having a human body. He meant living with presence, really being here for this life, with a steady and caring mind. To live as a true human means to notice the mind, to notice suffering, to notice impermanence. The Buddha didn't just say, "Be good." He said, "Develop mindfulness." That means being awake enough to see your own thoughts, your speech, your actions. It means not running from pain or chasing comfort. It means knowing what leads to suffering and what leads away from it, and choosing gently. The Buddha described the path in 3 simple steps: virtue, concentration, and wisdom. Virtue means living with care, not harming, not stealing, not lying. It creates a mind that is light and open. Concentration means bringing the mind back to the present, again and again. It brings stillness. Wisdom is the quiet understanding that everything changes and that clinging brings pain. There's a simple verse in the Dhammapada: mind is the forerunner of all things. Mind is chief, everything is made by mind. This isn't just poetry. It's a deep truth. Everything we call life, joy, sadness, relationships, fear, starts in the mind. When the mind is steady, life feels steady. Another time, the Buddha said, "Be a lamp unto yourself. Be your own refuge." He didn't say to follow him blindly. He said to trust your own honest seeing. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to carry a heavy burden. The path is not about rushing to escape. It's about walking with awareness, right here, right now. Some teachings say the final goal is to step beyond the cycle of birth and death. But this does not need to be a weight on your shoulders. The Buddha gently pointed toward freedom, but that freedom grows from small moments of presence. It is not about forcing yourself to let go of everything today. It is about seeing clearly and kindly, one breath at a time. To be here, fully present, is already a deep step toward peace. You can meet suffering with understanding. You can meet joy with gratitude. You can plant seeds of mindfulness, patience, and compassion. These seeds grow into the human you truly are. And even if you do not reach full awakening in this life, every wholesome seed you plant, every moment of kindness, every act of mindfulness, becomes part of the path. It becomes the ground for the next step. When this life fades, your good actions, your steady mind, and your sincere efforts will shape where you go next. They create the conditions for you to continue the path, to meet the teachings again, and to walk further with clarity and strength. This is not something to fear. It is a quiet encouragement to live well now, to build the causes for peace, both in this life and beyond. This life is precious and short. You don't know how many years, months, or even breaths you have left in this form. But while you're here, you can live with a mind that sees gently and deeply. You can respond instead of react. You can remember what matters. You are not just flesh and bone. You are awareness, capable of waking up. You are karma in motion. And more than that, you are the one who can choose where that motion leads. So live as someone who remembers. Live as someone who sees. Live as a human, fully, kindly, and wisely. Thank you for joining us on Wisdom and Wealth today. Asterisk if these insights have helped you, please like this video and subscribe to the Buddhist Doctrine channel.